Greetings, YouTube. I want you to imagine just for a minute what would happen if a Muslim prayer were read over the PA system in a high school in America. Anywhere in America. It's just your standard, ordinary, everyday public high school, and the prayer were said over the PA system. What do you think the reaction of the student body, of some of the teachers, and, more importantly, the parents would be? I imagine, and I'm just going out on a limb here, I'm imagining it wouldn't be positive. And yet, there are places in America where if a Christian prayer is read over a PA system in a public school, that people are shrugging their shoulders and say, hey, what's the big deal? If students don't want to hear it, they can plug their ears. Yes, a school person, an official working for the school paid by public tax dollars, actually said that if the school read Christian prayers over its PA system and students did not want to hear the prayers, they could just stick their fingers in their ears. Yeah, that's a shovel full of dumb. It seems to have somehow been missed by most school administrators that support these kinds of things, that it's illegal for a public school system to endorse a religion. And reading a prayer over the PA system would be endorsing a religion, because you're choosing one religion to say a prayer about, and you're excluding all other religions. And since there are thousands of religions, it really would be rather counterproductive to try to say a prayer from all of them. And, remember my little example at the beginning of this video, some parents might have a problem if you tried to say some prayers over their PA system, which, remember, is paid for with public tax dollars. That's why we have the First Amendment. That's why we have a separation of church and state. That is why schools are not allowed to endorse religions. Now, students, of course, are allowed to pray to themselves. For example, I just said a prayer. You could do nothing about it. No one could stop me from doing that. Just as no one can stop a student from praying silently, which happens before every test that there has ever been taken in a school. And a student is allowed to read their holy books and say a prayer before their meals. Completely allowed. Why? Because it's the student saying the prayer, not the school system. That distinction may be narrow to some folks, but it's very important. Of course, to those of us who are supporting of a secular worldview, that distinction is huge. There's a big difference between a school saying a prayer and a private citizen, the student, saying a prayer. Now, if a teacher would like to lead students in prayers, they can do it off campus, not during school hours. So long as they've got the permission from the parents of the kids, have at it, folks. But on school property, during school hours, even if you are off campus during school hours, if a child is involved in some kind of extracurricular activity or field trip, such as, say, a football game played on a public football field, you can't lead people in prayer. That's just the way it is, folks. That's the way it is in the U.S., and that's a good thing. Separating church and state is the best possible policy for both the church and the state. Because if the church and state are separate, that means the church cannot dictate what the state does. But more importantly, particularly if any of you small government lovers out there, any of whom may be members of the conservative movement, the Tea Party movement, or libertarians, it means that the government can't dictate what the church does. And that's really important if you'd like to have, say, the right to worship your gods as you choose. You don't want the government involved in many things in your life already. We can quibble over the details of that, but I can guarantee you, you don't want the government dictating your faith to you. So, let's keep prayers out of schools from the administration. Let students pray for themselves. They're quite capable of doing it. Let them read their own holy books. They can do that too. But teachers, administrators, saying prayers over PA systems or leading students in prayers on campus during school hours, not allowed. It's unconstitutional. It's been proven unconstitutional time and time again. And yet, school teachers and administrators continue to do this sort of thing, which is dumb, because it means they get sued, and then we have to waste tax dollars, which schools don't have enough of already, on court cases. So why don't the teachers and the school administrators smarten up and stop doing this and stop squandering what little resources they have? Why don't they put them into, say, educating students, which is, I thought, their job. And I think one of the first things they should be teaching students in the U.S. is the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, in particular, the First Amendment.